Placements recaps, let's lose. So the enemy support line picked Poppy, and I thought to myself for a while, and I finally picked Renata Klask. Such a fun champion. The enemy team continued to pick all-in champs like Diana and Gragas, while my ADC took 25 seconds hovering Lucian, only to pick Israel in the last second. At this point I thought the enemy team wanted to lose. And not surprisingly, my mid lane followed in the footsteps of my ADC and took all this time to swap at the last second. Also, that's a cool Kindred skin. The laning experience was as boring as you can imagine. Luckily, we got level 2 first, and that way we could keep bullying their lane for as long as we could extend our lead. And now let's ignore what you just saw. Anyway, moving on. Now Ergot, our top laner, not to be confused with the Ergot, the fungus, went on a little journey inside the enemy jungle and found a surprise, the enemy jungler. And that way we got the first blood and ruined her temple. After respawning, Diana went mid lane to catch the wave, and after that, continued moving down towards bot lane. At this point, I saw her and I pinged Ezreal to move away, but tragedy struck. Stroke, rather. I lost connection, but I reconnected maybe 10 seconds later. After reconnecting, I was happy that I didn't lose connection for a long time and continued moving to lane until I realized that I got disconnected again for the second time. And this time also, it didn't take too long to come back, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, but I was back, which was good news. Which meant that the boring farm and poke lane continued. At least it was boring for the enemy team. We were having fun. Keep getting bullied, Samira. Our cannon's health was low, so Israel and I decided to continue bullying Samira and deny the cannon. And after doing so, Samira got sad and sent a really sad emote. Really sad. When I saw Samira and Poppy push forward and start to attack us, I thought that Diana was in a river and trying to gank us. But then I realized she was dead. So I moved forward with Israel, but it was too late and we couldn't get anything but 2 flashes, which was okay in its own sense. Then we crashed the wave, got a plate and recalled, just to get home and cash in the money we had. Kindred's mark was on the bottom crab, and I thought that maybe Diana was there. So after first recall, I went bot, and lo and behold, I found Diana and their bot lane in the river. And meanwhile, Kindred managed to get all 3 grubs, which was nice. Me and Ez saw the 3 of them get into the tri-bush and used the cone to get some vision. Unfortunately, Ezreal didn't ping or communicate in any way and went on attacking Poppy. I think he forgot that Diana was right in bot lane, so we kept fighting. And because I was scared of Diana again, I didn't help him much, and we ended up losing the trade, and he was on like 200 HP. Shortly after, we had a surprise uninvited guest, Action, or Akshan, whatever you want to call him. But I got lucky and I managed to stop him right in time, but it was too late. Diana was on her way too, and we both ended up dying in a 4v2, which could have been avoided if Israel had looked at map, or maybe if I stepped up more. And it was saved by Syndra when she showed up and killed Action at his escape. So we got ganked again, but this time Ezreal was way too deep than I expected, and I thought he was dead. But miraculously, he survived. And we managed to get a kill back on them, but Kindred forgot to press ult before getting stunned by Poppy. So Samira ended up getting a triple kill, and I thought Ezreal had the same idea that the game was over. Because Samira in the first game, in a triple kill, I think the game is lost, depending on the elo, of course. And I think Kindred was hurt so badly that she started talking to herself. Once we got back to lane, I told everyone that Poppy was missing and she was going to roam, and I pinged that Diana was also on her way mid, so maybe Poppy was coming mid too. But Syndra didn't listen. Here's what happened. Enemy kept on pushing mid as a 3-man squad, and Syndra wasn't happy about it. So I decided to help, which is a big which I completely screwed up. And you see the end result, I ended up dying. But I really expected Kindred to help me. Dying so horribly mid lane, I went back to bot since I didn't belong to any other place, and I think I was in time to save my ADC and perhaps indirectly assist in a kill. There was a huge wave and we had to crash it, but Syndra made the right call and pinged us to retreat, which turned out to be a great idea by Syndra. And I managed to stop Diana as she was planning to engage, which gave us a head start, but Syndra managed to kick Poppy out of my ultimate and ultimately save her for a while, which meant that I wasn't going to save her when she was getting engaged on by Samira, and instead I gave my W to Israel. I'm happy that she died, because she took my glory. Anyway, we pushed the wave, got the tower, got Drake, and you'll see how it ended up. Never overextend. I'm telling you, if you have more than 1k, just base and buy something. Ergot, being the smartest player in our team, decided to push instead of grouping with us and got some gold for himself. But this meant that the enemy team were on his tail and they were about to gank him 3 versus 1. However, him being the thick boy that he is, he managed to get one of them and try his best to get out of it scot-free. And oddly enough, it took Kindred to get from middle to top lane as long as it took me to get there from base. And it seems like she doesn't want the kill, she just wants to steal the cannon. That's a real jungler. That's my jungler.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Forgive me for using that. I recently watched Dexter and I had to use that sentence. I know that it's been used a lot. So anyway, as you saw, when I was warding, I got caught but didn't die. So did Syndra. And seeing this, then we thought that they could, find Israel alone and get the whole gank on him. But they were the ones that actually got surprised. And I've gotta say, I didn't expect to land the Q, but we got action anyway. And soon enough, we thought to ourselves, let's kill Gragas too, and then we can Baron. So we started chasing him as slowly as we could, and we finally got him, alongside Poppy. But Poppy managed to get out of it, I don't know how. And when I was trying to save Ezreal, he managed to flash the opposite way instead of flashing to me. Maybe you could have survived. But anyway, he died, and we went on Baron and we got it. That's one way to win the game, right? Drake was about to spawn and I needed to get some vision on the river, and I got jump scared again by Poppy in action, but they didn't manage to get me this time. Instead, they decided to chase Ergot, our strongest player, who can 1v3 them. Instead of pushing the waves, decided to fight. And in the end, I'm glad we chose to fight them, because first we killed Poppy, then Crabber on crack, our Ergot just killed Diana, and we all walked into the barrel and got slowed, but we killed Action too. And the enemy team decided to FF the game, rightfully, because the game was over at that point. And they had no chance of winning, of course. And here's my placement.